Hello, it's me, Florida Catholic guy. Ay, 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 where do I begin? Super Bowl. I think the halftime show is more talked about than the actual game, and not in a good way. I'm just out here walking a dog here, sniffing around. But anyway, what can I say? It was disgusting. And I've heard the comments, the only ones criticizing it are women, and the men loved it. Well, this man didn't love it. Like I said, disgusting is the word that comes to mind. It was basically, I won't even say soft porn. That was just regular hardcore porn. And I don't know, they get worse and worse every year. And it's a sad commentary on this, on the country and world in general. Got all these bugs around here. Yesterday I was out on my walk and I swallowed a few of them. I don't know if you can see them, probably not through your camera, but there's a million of these little gnat type bugs. The worst thing is they follow you everywhere. But yeah, I just this is what happens when a country, and as I said, the world in general, turns away from God. And the satanic symbolism was there. The pedophilia symbolism was there. Bondage. Just every kind of perversion you can think of. And really, no talent hacks. And yeah, I said it, no talent hacks. Doing their whatever performance they call it. And the reason I say no talent hacks is because if you have to stoop to that level for a performance, it's obvious you don't have any talent. Because if you can't just go out there and sing and at least look halfway decent and not do pornography on a stage, then you don't have any talent. I'm sorry, you don't. Never seen him this bad. And at least they used to have some pretty good, okay talent. J-Lo and Shakira was never my favorite artist, were never my favorite artist, but I will admit they did have some talent back. And yeah, they, both Shakira and for that matter J-Lo were known for shaking their stuff, but maybe I don't remember as well as I wish I did, or maybe I selectively ignored it, but I don't remember them being this bad. This was, I just can't describe it and try to keep it decent. Other than, like I said, hardcore pornography. another plane. I don't know. It looks like it could be military. Change the subject. But I don't know if I got it. Don't know if it came in, but there's a plane that looks like it could have been military. But anyway, I don't know. I just disgusted with this country, and even the commercials were forgettable. The only ones I liked were the ones that Trump did. And then did you notice that the first Trump ad they had right at the beginning of the game, and the second Trump ad they had, I believe it was after the game had ended. So, that's par for the course, I guess. But, no, I don't know. It's disgusting, like I said, and I'm just as bad as anybody else, because I've shared videos and memes and everything else, how bad it was. But also, when you do that, you're also spreading the filth, and it's pretty much what me and everybody else have been doing. And it's I understand you're not sharing it to spread the filth, but in essence, that's what we are doing. Excuse me while I pick up my friend's waste here. Actually, the stuff that I just picked up is cleaner than what was on the Super Bowl halftime show. It's funny, but it's sad at the same time. And I'm not going to dwell on it too much, because it's obvious how I feel about it. And I commented on Facebook. I think it was, almost 20 years ago, Aerosmith did the halftime show with Britney Spears, NSYNC, and a whole bunch of Nelly and some rap people and people that were popular back then. And there's the moon. And come here, Shadow. So, so Aerosmith had that performance, and, we all know what Britney Spears, what she is or was, or I don't know if she's, let's go, Shadow. I don't know if she's done with her performing or not, or what her intentions are, but she was as bad as any of them get. But at least for that one performance, she wasn't as bad as what we witnessed, and the performance itself was good. And despite what she is and how she was, it was a whole different thing, and at least the people that were there had some talent, some actual music. And full disclosure, back then I actually hated that Aerosmith was going to perform with all those pop people and everything, but when I look back on it from almost 20 years later, it's better than, it was the best Super Bowl performance since, probably one of the top of all time. And seems they get worse every year. So anyway, enough of the Super Bowl. I'm glad the Chiefs won. My best friend since way back when I was a kid, he's a big time Chiefs fan. I think he still lives in Williamstown. Grew up in North Adams with me, Massachusetts. And like I said, he's a big time Chiefs fan and Patriot hater, which I won't hold that against him, but I'm glad that his team won. And as for being a Trump supporter, it's good that the Chiefs won too, because the 49ers players said that if they win, they weren't going to the White House to meet Trump. Meanwhile, one of the Chiefs players wore a Trump shirt to a press conference. And I guess the 49ers don't have to worry about not going to the White House. God does have a sense of humor. The curse of Donald Trump. Anybody who, any sports figure, athlete, or whatever that has criticized Trump has ended up, been on the losing side. There's been Olympic athletes that have criticized Trump and ended up breaking their legs and stuff and not being able to compete. If the professional sports team does it, they lose in the playoffs or don't make the playoffs or whatever, which I absolutely love. But I digress. Today, the world learned that Rush Limbaugh has, I guess he described it as advanced, I think that's how he said it, advanced lung cancer. Come on, Shadow, let's go. Doesn't sound good from what I'm hearing. I guess he's taking some time off from his show to, absorb the news, obviously, and meet with his doctors for treatment options. As far as radio talk show host, and on Facebook I said conservative talk show host, but I'd say any talk show host. He's the greatest of all time. He's the GOAT. He's responsible for people like Hannity, and I dare say people like Howie Carr up in Boston, and you know, even Mark Levin. I don't know how long Levin's been doing his show, but you know, I'm sure any of those will say that Russia's responsible for getting them going and getting their audience. And I don't want to talk about the guy like he's dead, because hopefully he's got some great years left. But you know, with cancer, you never know. I mean, my dad, go back to my dad back in, what was it? I think it was 2012 when he got diagnosed. It was, I think it was just after Mother's Day or just before it, something like that. You know, he was having more pain than usual in his, you know, stomach area and that area. So he asked me to take him up to the VA hospital in Togus, Maine. And you know, I was used to my dad having pain and stuff, and you know, he's had pretty much all his life, he's had issues down there, and so I didn't know, you know, I thought it was just, you know, one of those things, I was just having more pain. So I don't know what I was doing. I really didn't want to take him up, but you know, obviously I didn't want my dad being in pain and stuff. And I think I don't know what it was, whether I was tired or something. I didn't feel like driving, so you know, my dad said, well, he would drive, and I could just come with him, just to be with him, which I said, yeah, all right, sure. And it was on the way up, when he was driving up, that I could tell that he was in a lot of discomfort. And I even offered to take the wheel. If he wanted to pull over, we could change seats and I would drive. And he was like, no, he'll be all right. And got up there, checked himself into the emergency room, got a room just pretty much as soon as he got up there. And so the doctors did some blood tests and x-rays, and I think they did a CT scan on him, and the doctor came in and said, well, the good news is, well, he didn't say good news, he just said the blood tests came back okay, and they were just waiting on the CT scan. And you know, he kind of nervously said, well, it's good that they didn't find anything on the blood test, we just got to find out what's causing the pain. My dad really didn't say anything because, well, he probably knew what was going on. But a little while later, the doctor came back in and said, unfortunately, on the CT scan, we found a tumor. And went on to explain that the tumor had advanced, I don't know if it started in his liver or kidney or whatever, wherever it started, it advanced into the other one. So if it started in his, I want to say it started in his liver and advanced into his kidney. And basically there was nothing they could do at that point. He got admitted to the hospital that night, and that was a sucker punch to the gut, and I had to drive the hour or whatever it was back home. And I don't think I had dry eyes for the next couple of months, but the next day we went up to see my dad, and they gave him some medication for the pain, of course, and talked to the doctor, and reiterated there's really not much they could do other than pain management. And the doctor said that he maybe had 6 months left, and they were able to take him back home and discharged him. And they had a nurse come in and help him with his medicines and everything, and it went downhill fast, really fast. One of the funny moments, not really funny, but when you're in that situation, you look for humor in anything, I guess. But he was all jacked up on pain medicines. It was a Sunday morning, and he was getting dressed, getting ready to go to church. God love him. It was Sunday. He knew he had to go to church, but there was no way we were going to let him drive. In fact, one morning, I don't know if it was a day before or something, he had gotten up and drove to McDonald's to get his coffee, and used to get my mother a sausage biscuit or some kind of biscuit that she likes. And he shouldn't have been driving, but he did. And after that, we told him no more of that, and we stopped him from going to church. I mean, at that time, he was so jacked up, he would have just been wandering around the church, not knowing what he was doing, between the cancer and the medications and everything that he had. And the next week, I was in my room doing whatever I was doing, watching TV, I guess, probably, and I heard this noise. I didn't really give it a thought. And a few minutes later, I thought about the noise, and I said, gee, I better check on my dad, because he was in his room, which is right next to mine. And he was on the floor. Didn't make it to the bathroom. And so I helped him up, got him cleaned up and everything, and felt really bad for not immediately going and putting two and two together. And I still feel bad to this day about that, but both my dad, when he was there, he was still kind of coherent, and my mother said, I didn't do anything wrong, I just didn't know. But even still, I feel I should have. But anyway, from that time on, he didn't really get out of bed, and just had to help him up to go to the bathroom. He wasn't eating anything anymore. Then he there's another incident that was kind of funny, that my mother has a walker that has 4 little legs on it, and so we gave it to my father for him to try to get his balance, and he was trying to stand on the legs, and we were laughing, telling him that that's not how you do it. And it's just one of those things, like I said, where you try to find humor in anything. And It's something that my mom and I still laugh about sometimes. And, and then one time, I think it was during that same time, he got upset and he says, "I hope I die tomorrow." And I mean, it wasn't funny when he said it back then, but now we laugh because he didn't die tomorrow, but it was a few more days after that. But it was after that where, he got to the point where he even said, "I want to go to the hospital." Didn't mean the hospital, he meant hospice. And so we called and we admitted him to the hospice care, and I think he lasted another 2 or 3 days after that. And we stayed with him pretty much 24/7 when he was in the hospice. We went out the final day that he had, because one of the nurses said that, you got to give him permission to go, and sometimes they don't want to let go while you're there watching. So go out and get something to eat, and and then come back and see where we are. And so that's what we did. And we came back. He was still holding on, and my mom and me, we prayed the rosary with my dad one last time, and right at the end of the rosary is when he took his last breath on this earth. And so basically, he didn't last much longer than a week, maybe 2 weeks. I don't even think it was 2 weeks since the diagnosis. So, that's just my experience. And, you go through stages. I had anger, said the doctor should have been able to find the cancer long before this. And, they should have been able to treat him long before this. And about a month or so earlier, he had an episode while driving where he just got dizzy and he pulled over. He didn't know where he was and what he was doing. And after a little while, he came to again and was able to get home. And he went to the doctors after that. And they didn't even do any tests or anything. And I've always thought that if they did, maybe they would have found the cancer and been able to do something. But, I was ready to sue the VA and anybody and anything just because I was pissed off, But it's nothing they did, it's just the way it is, Even if they had found it by then, it's only a month or two. Probably wouldn't have been able to do anything anyway. And, even now I still miss my dad. And I got way off the subject on talking about Rush. That's just my experience. And again, I'm grateful to have the time that I did with my dad, and still miss him. Anyway, I'm going to end this now. I've rambled on long enough. My prayers are out there for Rush and his family, and I hope they're able to treat it, and pray to God, and that's all you can do. Thank you for watching. Take it easy. Grab your family tight and give them lots of love, because you never know when you're going to lose them. Thanks for watching. God bless you, and See you later. Bye.